So let's move on to topic number three. I've been waiting to bring this up because it's dealing with your boy Wemby. So we all know how the other day went, right? So the series is tied 2-2. The Wolves beat San Antonio 114-109 in game four Sunday without Wemby for at least 75% of the game, right? Wembyama got the first ejection of his career, fighting for a rebound early in the second quarter. Threw that right elbow in the Nas Reed's chin throat area. The official review it. Flagrant two, automatic ejection. And at the time, I don't know, Wemby was on the bench and the coaches, not the coach, well, I guess it's kind of like a coach, third string coach or whatever you want to call the guys there. It's like, all right, Wemby, you got to go to the bag. He's looking like, what for? Said, man, you got a flagrant two. He's like, what does that mean? I ain't never got a flagrant foul in my life. Bro, that means you got to go back to the locker room. You can't even stay out here. And then what made it so bad was he was like, oh, okay. Then he started high-fiving all his teammates like, yeah, I took one for the team. And up to that point, the Spurs led most of the rest of the game, right? But they finally faded down the final stretch, right? What did you think? I think it does deserve a flagrant two, but I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah, I think they've been grabbing on him all series. I mean, even on that play, if they had just called a foul, the elbow would have never happened. I mean, I'm wearing a Spurs hat, so I'm a biased source here, but I mean, they've been roughing him. They've been roughing him up all series, and so.
But does it deserve a hard elbow? Look, because at first I was defending them. I told my wife, I said, Tiny, they're just trying to get Wemby out of here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, watch. So I played it back twice. I was like, never mind. I said, that was kind of I said, Tiny, I don't think it's intentional. I said, but come on, man. You can't be throwing the elbow. Not like that.
I mean, he's so tall that him throwing an elbow.
I tried that excuse too. I tried it with my wife. She didn't go for it. She said, come on now, Sean. She said, I know he's tall. Because I said, Tanya, he is 7'4". Everybody's like 6'8", 6'9". I said, the swing of it. But the way I looked at it, Matthew, it was, he cocked it. He had like a little 3-inch cock. Bow! Let that hammer go.
He got McDaniels grabbing him on one side. He got Nas Reed grabbing him on one side. And at some point, you just get frustrated. You look at his arms; they're all scratched and caught up. It looks like he's been fighting.
Everybody's arms is scratched and caught up. Everybody's getting fouled.
They have been fouling this man, fouling him, and he said, "You know what? If they're not going to call this, then I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to let one of these bows go, and we're going to see who's going to be fouling me next game." I'm just thankful he's not suspended for Game 5. I mean, that was an obvious flagrant two. It was obvious why he had to leave. It would have been horrendous.
The officials, they reviewed it. They called it a windup. If he would have just swung Matthew like this, like how you grab it and you just swing trying to clear, it was that little cock right there, and they called that the windup. If he didn't move it up 2 or 3 inches and then go with it, that is what did him in.
No, I mean he was always. Once I saw the replay, yeah, I mean it was obvious he was gonna go. He was not gonna be.
He was frustrated.
But the thing is, we were winning when he was there. We were winning without him, and then just to fade down the stretch again and let Minnesota back in the series. It feels like Minnesota's wins have been so fluky, but they're still wins. At some point, it's just first 1 to 4. It's not whose wins are most impressive. So the fact that both of the Wolves' wins have come with San Antonio fading from the 8-minute mark to the 3-minute mark of the fourth and outplaying them for literally the rest of the game. I mean. Although this time I would say the Wolves outplayed
Ant-Man was back.
Yeah, no, Ant-Man was back for sure. I mean, they say he's only at 60%. He looks well. If that's at 60%, then we should all be scared because he looks incredible out there. And I've long maintained as a Spurs fan, I say Jaden McDaniels, Terrence Shannon Jr. At some point they're going to play down to their averages. Terrence Shannon Jr. is going to stop putting up 20 balls. Jaden McDaniels is going to stop putting up 30 balls. At some point, they're going to play to their averages. But right now, you're getting good contributions from the role players, but I really just think the Spurs, just under 8 minutes, couldn't get a rebound, couldn't buy a basket. And, I mean, there were so many opportunities, and I guess that's why it would have been nice to have Wemby in there. But there were so many times where you finally get a stop from the Wolves. and then they get a
Uh-huh.
rebound. Then you get a stop again, then they get a rebound. And it's just the rebounding, the clutch rebounding, the rebounding down the stretch was horrendous. The playmaking, it was the complete wrong time to go cold. And if you're San Antonio, you're still the favorite in the series, but now you absolutely need to win Game 5. And Wemby or not, it just sucked. I think to see them just throw away Game 4 down the stretch.
Yep. And let's look at this. Let's take a quick peek at Anthony Edwards' stats, right? Anthony Edwards exploded for 36 points, right, in game four, including 16 of those in the fourth quarter alone, right? Played, you ready for this, Matthew? Played 40 minutes, no minute restriction at all, right? Came off the bench in games 1 and 2, finally started game 3 onward, shot 59% from the field and 60% from the three. This man's on fire.
No, I mean they really couldn't do anything with him last game, and it's like he was getting to the basket, he was in
Yep.
his mid range bag, but then some
Mm-hmm.
of those 3 pointers he was hitting just above the break, just like 2 dribbles into the half court, and then
Yeah.
taking a three. Then there was like a fadeaway three in there. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
he had at one point they showed his stats, they showed his field goals, and I just it was just his night.
Couldn't do nothing. Yeah.
It was a magnet ball, and if he's gonna be playing like that, then it's gonna open everything up because Nas Reed can hit shots. Terrence Shannon
Yes.
Jr. Has been hitting shots. Let's see if that continues. Jaden McDaniels can hit shots. Julius Randle's a guy. As a Spurs fan, you want the ball in Julius Randle's hands as much as possible because I feel like he's the one that's kind of going into some ISO ball, disrupting their offense, committing turnovers. Well, when Ant's initiating the offense, it's trouble. But let's force the ball over to Julius. Let's force the ball over to old Mike Conley. Now he's a smart player, but he's an old player. But we got to find a way to get the ball out of Ant Man's hands because
But let's look at this, right? But let's compare the two. Not only was Ant-Man hot, so they still barely won by a little bit, right? But look, Nas finished with 15 points, 9 rebounds, right? Rudy Gobert, 11 out of 13. Dosunmu hit clutch free throws with 9.8 seconds left, right? But then on the other side, the Spurs guards, Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox, they each had 24 points. Stephon Castle had 20. So it's not like it wasn't close, right? But it just wasn't enough, right? But how often does Rudy Gobert go 11 to 13? You know what I'm saying? The stuff, little things like that, it was just by a little bit, couple of extra shots that they won.
yeah, I mean, really, it was Ant Man. I mean, you look at all the other players on the field, on the court. I mean, even when he wasn't
But Matthew,
scoring.
do you realize even with all that, it's like Minnesota, the Wolves, as you call them, the Wounded Wolves, they had to be almost perfect to just win
Well,
by 4 or 5, 6 points.
but you know what? That's the thing is nobody's gonna care. It's first one to get to 4. Nobody's gonna care how they did it. And if you're the Spurs, what you're saying is true. They
True.
had to be almost perfect. But if you're the Spurs now, you have to be
True.
perfect and win
Yes.
Game 5 because it's not going to matter how almost perfect they had to be to win Game 4. They won Game 4, and now you have to go out and win Game 5 because they're in this series now. And so, yeah, I mean, it sucks to waste that kind of game from our guards where Castle, Fox, and Harper, all three are great on the same day, which, you would think would happen more, but it hasn't happened all that much this year. And it's probably because, one of them always has to get their rhythm disrupted coming out of the game. But to
Yeah.
get 20-point games from your trio of guards,
Uh-huh.
and it has to be the game that Wemby gets ejected in the second quarter. You mix those performances from the guards with just a
Uh-huh.
regular Wemby performance, I think we win that game by 15 points. So Wemby, I need him to come out angry. I need him to come out furious, and I need us to just be up 30 points at halftime of Game 5.
All right. Well, I'm glad you said that, Matthew, because let's look at this. Will Wemby be suspended for game 5, right? Because
No.
per the NBA, we're going to get into the rules now. For all of y'all out there, we're going to cover a quick rule book, right? The NBA playoff penalty point system is like this. Flagrant 2 equals 2 points. Suspension starts at 3 plus points. This was his first flagrant foul, so he's at 2 points. It's not an automatic suspension, but the rules state that the league has discretionary powers to suspend if they rule it was excessive danger. what do you think they'll rule in favor, whether Wemby gets suspended or not?
So I think it already came out. The Wemby is
Oh,
not
did
getting
it?
suspended. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So Wemby's here for Game 5. So we're not even worried about that. Yeah, yeah. No, we're past that. So basically, he got ejected. So he got ejected in the second quarter. So basically, he was suspended for a game and we lost. That's
Do
the
you, do you
effect
do
of.
you, do you blame Wemby for what he did and getting himself kicked out?
No, because they're all just grabbing on him, manhandling him. At some point he's saying, get off me. And it's maybe they'll think twice about it. Maybe not the smartest thing, but we're riding with him. And I'm glad I'm glad Coach Mitch Johnson in the post-game interview, he talked about how disgusting it is the way Wemby's handled out there. And he had Wemby's back. Now, whether that's what he thinks or not, I'm glad he came out and had his back because we don't want any chemistry issues as we come down the stretch of the second round. But this Game 5 of the second round at home, I think, is one of the biggest games in San Antonio in recent memory, definitely of the last 10 years. So I really just need us to come out and just dominate from pillar to post on